Okay, welcome everybody. We'll see how this goes. First of all, welcome to the King True Show. Our episode today is going to be about the issues that men and women tend to have while dating, and actually just in relationships in general. How often men and women will tend to miscommunicate with each other. A lot of times, guys and girls have a much different language they speak. So today, I got some guests. My name is Kenny. I'm going to be your host. I'm going to be kind of moderating the discussion. And we actually this is again one of the processes. So first I was going to ask Miss Martin to come out, but first I'm going to have Ange come out. Just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So my name is Angie, and I am new to the dating world, kind of 3 years. Is that okay to say, Kenny?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm very transparent, which sometimes is not good and sometimes is. But I was married for 21 years and pretty much separated, divorced for 3. So this dating world and learning about men and women in our 40s has just been the journey. So I'm excited to talk and learn and grow.
Sounds good. So let's go ahead and add Miss Martin. Go ahead, and the floor is yours for a moment. Miss Martin, go ahead.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's your girl Tiana. I am recently divorced for 5 years. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. 5 years single. I'm out here in these streets. I am a barber, so I'm pretty much, open-minded when it comes to relationships and people in general. So, hey guys, I'm ready to talk. What's up?
Sounds good. Big Will, go ahead. Introduce yourself. The floor is yours.
All right, I'm William Gray. I'm in the DMV. People know what that is. That's Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. I'm a real estate broker. I've been single for forever. I work a lot, so meeting people is a little challenging. But I'm here to discuss relationship questions and topics and opinion on men, in my opinion. So that is my speech.
All right. Well, one of the things that I first wanted to do was some of the discussion that we've had before having the discussion with you guys. I know one of the things that the women brought to my attention was that in the dating world, a lot of times they might set a date and then it gets canceled. And so I'll open up the floor now to both the girls or the ladies. You guys tell me what you guys have seen in the dating marketplace. Have you had that happen? Do you have this happen to your friends? I will tell the audience that not everything we say is necessarily what we think. It may be, but it also may be what we've seen from other people, what we've heard from other people. Go ahead.
Okay. So I know from my experience and my friends that are similar in age, it seems that it's been pretty trendy for guys to start reaching out to you and texting you and showing you all this attention through their phone and wanting attention in their phone. And then they finally plan something and it gets either canceled or they just don't show up. And I've heard several of my friends have the same issue. And from my perspective, just being new to this world, I just can't comprehend why someone would waste someone's time, because I, just like Will, I'm in the real estate industry too, and I'm nonstop. So for someone to do that and schedule time with me and not show up, it's happened several times over the past 3 years, and it just makes me not even interested in wanting to date. It turned me off for sure.
Okay, and Miss Martin, what do you think? Have you seen that?
I personally have not, but I've seen it with my friends. I'm a barber, so I'm pretty open, and I'm like, okay, but I feel like you just need a plan B, regardless of what happens. The night doesn't just stop with one person. Yes, your time is everything. And I can't imagine just, somebody scheduling a date and not pulling up on you. That's not cool. I don't agree with that. But I don't know. I just feel like people need to keep it pushing. It don't stop there.
So, Will, what do you think from the guy's standpoint? Because I don't know if the girls realize this or not, but this also happens to guys. Okay. And so what are some of your reasons that you believe that most guys that set a date, why would they not be on a date?
I mean,
Why would they not go?
I don't see a reason why guys wouldn't show up, but give me an example of how it went with the conversation leading up to the plans. And I can tell you where the miscommunication or the lack of interest came from the guy. If you give me if you describe to me how the conversation went, I can tell you what went wrong. And you there? Got to unmute.
There, I can't unmute it. Only Kenny can.
Oh, okay, Kenny. Okay. So tell me what happened in this conversation with the last guy that didn't show up or didn't call you to let you know he's not coming and just bailed on the date.
Okay, well, I'll give you one example.
Okay.
So he actually didn't not show up. He would just cancel. So is that my phone? I'm so sorry. So the communication was just flirtatious communication, and then it was, okay, well, let's meet on Friday. Let's go out. Let's meet at such and such restaurant around 6. Okay. 5:30, I get a text. I'm so sorry. I have some family issues. I can't go. 30 minutes before the date. And that's happened.
What does he do for a living?
Like government stuff.
And the reason I asked that question is we're both in the same industry. So as you can see, I'm doing this from a car because I was showing properties today and then to make it back home. So we're always on the move, and we always have things coming up, and plans have to change on a regular basis. So if you meet a guy that's heavily active in his career, it's going to be hard to keep him to be grounded to meet up with him because his first importance is his career. In the DMV, especially, a lot of men here are entrepreneurs. Not just men, a lot of people here are entrepreneurs. They're either government contracted or they're entrepreneurs, and they work 24/7. So their personal lives get pushed to the back.
So, Will, here's a question that I have, because I believe that although that could be true, because yes, we are busy, right? Especially in a more metropolitan area, which is a little different for people watching. There's people that are, it's funny because I got people on my live that are blowing up the phone. Hey, I encourage all you guys, if you go to the King Truth Show on Facebook, you'll see it. And then I can send links where you can come in. It's funny because on the cast, I see one person watch. I got 7 on my Facebook Live, and they're all chiming in. But one of the things that I wanted to say real quick is that, to me, and Will, I'll know your opinion. I'd like to hear your opinion on it. But for me, I assume if I'm taking a girl out, the odds are she's got some other things lined up too, because I've had people cancel on me a lot. And so what tends to happen is I think guys a lot of times are doing the same thing. They might set tentative plans with 3 girls. If one goes through, then they fade off those other girls, because that does happen to guys. I've seen it.
No, that's
go ahead, Angie. Hold on first so agree or disagree, Will?
No, I agree, because not that many people put all their eggs in one basket dealing with people these days. They just don't. So because of that, they keep multiple options available, and whatever option they are more interested in, they lean towards that option if the other ones start dwindling out. I mean, that's on both sides. So you're going to get that from women as much as you're going to get that from men.
Okay. So from my perspective, I'm in a whole different boat here. I came from a 21-year marriage to this crazy dating world. I don't know how to have several guys in my little basket over here. I don't know how to do that.
That's a good thing.
Text me your email.
I'm just so for me,
that is an extremely good thing if you don't have a basket of men. Trust me.
Well, yeah, but you guys are all saying you need to have a basket of men. So I'm confused. No. You're saying it's a good thing.
Do not take what is going on as what you should do. Do not do that. You're not going to get anywhere. So if you're following the crowd, you're going to end up in the same way they're in, lonely and single. So don't. That's
and Miss Martin, I'm sorry, I had you paused, and you've been so patient. So I want to hear you chime in your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts. I agree with Will. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket. But I spoke with you, Ange, about your marriage. Right now, it's a script. You're still a wife. You're
Mhm,
not tied like the rest of us, and it takes
mhm.
a while to hop back out there.
Yeah.
And your standards are super duper high, but at the same time, the people that you meet, they're not going to be looking for a wife. They might be looking for something else,
Mhm, mhm.
and that's where you take but you set your standards at the beginning of a relationship, I guess. But like I said, just being open, you guys just have to step back and have options. Right now, I mean, are you looking for another husband for 20 years? Or, that I guess that's
Yes,
my question. What is
yes. I am
on?
literally looking for a husband for the rest of my life. Like, I enjoy the partnership and the companionship. I don't enjoy just the handful of people I dated in the 3 years makes me not feel whole. It's like
So
I feel like I've been with too many guys. It's just ugh. So for me, it's how I am. I absolutely want to get married. Absolutely.
Okay.
so let me ask you a question, Ange. What does marriage mean to you? Why is marriage a necessity?
It's not that like walking down the aisle and getting a certificate and saying we're married is a priority, but partnership is a priority. I
Okay.
enjoy doing life with someone, going to church with the same guy, going to the gym, meal prepping, living my life with a partnership. That brings me joy.
I
So
got
let me ask you a question. Could you be happy with somebody and a partner that doesn't want to marry you?
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
So
Okay.
when you
Oh,
I'm
hold
gonna
on. Let me
say,
just
when
chime
you
in real
meet,
quick because
But
go
if
ahead.
he said to me I had a horrific
Hold on, Ange. Hold on, Ange, because I want to hear what Will has to say, but
Yeah.
this is kind of my point that I was going to say is that Will literally ask you a question. You say, yes, I want to be married. And my point was going to say that most women end up telling guys and building in a gray area. And then guys see that and they don't see it as being legit. If a girl tells me I
very
really
true.
want to get married, and then the minute a guy says, "Well, do you mean marriage or you mean like a partnership?" And then the girl goes, "Well, maybe a partnership would work." Well,
Can you
then you're not going to get married.
That's
yourself
what I said though.
by yourself?
What's that?
I'll be
Is
honest with you.
it hard for
Most
you?
men today don't
Me?
look for getting married. That's not really a male trait. We don't look for marriage. We look for a significant other that could be a good partner and grow into whatever. Like marriage is a woman idea. Men are not running to get married. That's probably the last thing on their mind when they're meeting somebody.
Exactly.
The
Well,
guys,
Well,
I
I
definitely,
don't know how to have the in between where the guy wants a relationship but doesn't want to get married, and then
well,
wants side pieces in the back. So
well,
I think it's just a lot of cleansing because you got to think about it. I mean, these guys are gonna have their say so, but you've been married for 20 years. I've only been married for 5, and 5 years destroyed the hell out of me. And I'm just now trying to figure out who the hell I am. Like I totally forgot because when someone says marriage, you're committed, whether the sex is trash, whether they're clean or dirty. You're like, fuck, I already said I want to marry this person. So you're locked in, right?
mm,
Mentally. So
mm,
you have to be set and step back and I don't know, just like love yourself. And not just you, all of us, a lot of us women and men do not know how to be alone. I said that energy, when they start saying, like, damn, Angie doing good, minding her business, she's popping her shit, right? And then I'm sorry, excuse my language, but you're popping off, right? And then that energy is trapped because they just see how
I
love
have
yourself.
literally I've
They're
been doing that.
want a piece of that. They're
I, I have been doing that. I have been living my best life. I take solo trips. I still go to the gym every day. When I went through the divorce, I did not let that affect the things that I love in my life. So I am grinding. I love being alone. I am not lonely
yeah.
at all. I just don't like dating a bunch of random guys. It's not fun for me because
It's dangerous.
what?
It's dangerous.
Yes, I don't want to be out here doing this.
your goal is to date one individual and grow with that individual. Am I wrong, Ange, to assume that?
Yes, that
Okay.
would be my preference.
You have to take.
what'd you say,
You
Will?
have to stop telling. you have to stop telling guys you're looking for marriage, because that right there is a red flag.
Okay.
Because I mean, if a woman comes to me and their first reaction is I'm looking for marriage, that means you're not even looking to understand who you're dealing with. You're not looking to build a relationship. There's so many steps before that. The guys can think you're already thinking down the road, and we haven't even got past the first conversation or understand what your wants and needs and everything else. So I wouldn't start off approaching this situation with "I want to get married."
No, I
Well,
definitely
here's
don't approach. I definitely don't approach and say I want to.
so here's the thing. I would agree with you, Will, but I've never met a girl that was honest about what she wanted. And what I mean by that is, like, you look at it and every single profile always says looking for the real deal, blah, blah, blah. And then it's the same thing, right? Where it's not. Oh, I would never sleep with anybody on here. And then they do. And so what happens is, what I've seen is a girl will say, kind of like it's, and not to throw you under the bus and hear with what just was said, because I love you, but it's like to have somebody say, she literally said on here, yeah, I want to get married. And then she goes, what I would never say that to a guy. It's like, right, because most of the time when the people first meet, they're both just saying whatever it is. And girls accept that guys are saying what it is. It's not like they believe everything the first time they meet a guy. And so guys don't believe women anymore. And what Will's saying, I think, is more prevalent now with guys going, well, why would I? First of all, if a girl tells me she wants to get married, I don't believe it. So it doesn't matter whether she says that or not. It actually has no bearing on me. No, I mean, I just go, oh, okay. And then if you want to be a wife, you got to act as a wife. Now, that does take getting to know somebody. It takes a process, because a guy's trust is not built in a day or two. It is because guys, when they are crushed, and I'm not saying women don't get crushed, but when a guy is crushed, it could take 20 years to fix them. And so I see girls get remarried all the time, and most of the time, guys do not either get remarried or it takes a long time.
Yeah.
I can agree with that statement, Kenny. I can 100% agree with that statement.
And we want to. It's funny, and I won't share too much personal stuff between anybody in this group, but I will share that me and Will are both looked at, I think, through people that know us as guys that will date girls and not, if it's not serious, it's not serious. But when me and Will go and talk about it when we're in Bermuda, we're like, man, if we found the right one, right? But why would we even share that? Because it doesn't buy us anything. And if we pick the wrong one, it's going to cost us everything.
You are telling the truth.
We're gambling.
I mean, dating is a form of gambling, but men hold all the risk.
Dang.
You hold
What
all
about
the risk.
risk?
Tell me what risk. All right.
No,
Tell me what risk does a woman hold?
No, what risk? What risk are you talking about?
Say it again.
You said guys take all the risk. What risk are you referring to? It is getting
No, I said we hold all the risk.
Oh, well, I think that's what she's asking, Will, and I'm pretty sure.
So let's hypothetically say two couples met, it worked out, dating went well, they got engaged, they got married. So what is it? 70-80% of divorces are created by women. Am I wrong? Is that the statistic? 70 to 80?
So the percentage right now, hold on. I have the percentages right here.
It's at least 70 to 80%.
Yes, that is correct. 70%
by women.
70% of women are the ones that file the divorce paperwork.
So you already know at a certain point, 7 out of 10 women you meet are going to get to a point that they're not happy, that their emotions are taking over. They're not making great decisions. They don't no longer want to be with you. After all these promises they made, 70% of any woman you pick is going to leave you at a certain point. Most women aren't going to just walk out the door with nothing. They're going to try to get something out of you because they feel like they gave you their time. They need to be rewarded or they need to receive some type of revenue or something from you. And guys out here are getting demolished in court for divorce, alimony, child support. These are all these things that men have to factor in when they're dealing with women. So yes, we take the liabilities on us. You guys leave, you leave. We first of all, we don't make decisions to leave. Not that many men are leaving a woman that makes them happy. That is not really a male trait. If we have something solid, we're going to stick around. Our emotions
Usually, and I get that this is semi-anecdotal to myself, but typically speaking, if I'm in a relationship and the person lives close by me, there is very limited times where I'm going to leave a relationship where we live in the same area and there's no immense issue. Like, it takes a lot for me to leave if we live next to each other, because the only option would be like I dated somebody for a year or two and then I go, I'm not going to marry this person. Then I would be gone. But I have dated a lot more situationally and had those situations not work, but not where we're like in a marriage. I never filed for divorce. And typically speaking, now we're a little bit different situation. Now, I would say at this point getting married, because I'm probably not going to have kids at this point getting married, right? But Will may, and so, you know, Miss Martin may choose to have another kid. Angie, if you decide, but the point that, so if that's the case, if a guy that's going to marry a girl and girls, so here's a stat for you, okay? There's 13 million single moms and 3 million, a little bit less than 3 million single dads. So you have an 80% chance of taking my kids if I have a kid with you. And then girls, or we would pay girls child support and we would pay them alimony. We're going to have our hearts broken and more, and they're the ones that are initiating it. Again, I'm not saying that it's always that way. I'm just saying that it makes guys a lot less likely to want to get into a relationship where they're really vested.
70% is a high number, and guys are logical creatures. So we analyze data before we take risk. So we're not jumping into a risk pool if it doesn't make sense. I'm in the mortgage and real estate industry. We always evaluate risk. So no guy is going to go about this might be a problem, this might be a problem, this might be a problem. We're already justifying our problems and what we're dealing with before we commit to you.
Go ahead, Miss Martin.
So you have, for one, you got the song "Men Lie, Women Lie." Then you do numbers, but my husband actually filed for divorce. So I can actually, I can hop in there real quick. Like,
why did he file for divorce?
Well, I'll tell you. The fact that I even have to throw it out there, I knew it was coming. But my husband asked for the divorce. Basically, it was just, the truth is, like, when we were packing up the house and dividing everything, long story short, I'm like, yo, we're on the last furniture. I'm like, yo, so let me know what really happened. So I'll be able to let the next guy know, let alone everybody that's listening tonight, what happened. So what's up with me? And he's like, well, honestly, you just made me feel like it wasn't.
What? He say again?
It glitched.
He said that I made him feel that it wasn't enough.
Okay, well,
and then you have book smart, and then you have street smart. So you have guys that go by numbers, and then you have street smart people that actually thrive and live off of survival. It's a huge difference where the mindset actually come in at. So our marriage, and I'm not sugarcoating anything, I'm all about taking accountability as a woman, because I have to do these things. And that's why I have to be here to speak up for some of us, because, I played my role. I'm not innocent, but when he said that I made him feel like he wasn't good enough, his mind, he's super smart, brilliant guy. We're very close. We're just divorced. But his mind, the way he receives is totally different how I receive. So you have this Samoan woman telling you, which in my mind is, I'm motivating my man. I'm pushing you to go hard. And when I met him, he was like, oh, I just want to be
well,
Or
so real quick, because
oh, go ahead.
I get where you're coming from there, but understand that when most guys, that is something that is very tough for us. We want a soft pillow at home. Now, this is not all guys, but most guys have to deal with bullshit all day long. Telling us failing, telling us failing, telling us failing. I understand that a woman.
My career is different. So it's different when I'm actually a barber entrepreneur. So soft is more like it wouldn't come in the barber field. I deal with majority men.
But that's work related. We don't worry about what you do at work. Yeah. We worry about what you do when you come home.
Oh yeah, he gets soft, super soft. For week, hands are broke, wrists are broke.
No, but what I'm saying is that typically speaking, a lot of women, especially in this world today, they feel like they're trying to correct the man, right? Hey, you could do this. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try this? And that's where, like, you're saying that your man said this. And I have said those exact same words. And I believe I've talked to Will before where he said those same words.
Same words as well.
Yeah.
It actually sounds good now that you guys say it out loud. But I get where you're coming from.
I've been engaged before.
More masculine towards him, and I probably should have been more submissive towards what he wanted to do versus trying to.
Hey, let me address something, because I'm going to touch on a couple of these topics that people are chiming in on, because somebody's saying it sounds like a woman bash. Are you guys feeling like we're bashing you?
Oh no, not at all. It's just that's why it's 2 and 2. I don't think so.
Angie, you were shaking your head. Yes. How so?
I don't feel like you guys are bashing us, but it does sound like you guys are more the victim in the situation by the way you're describing your issues. When we're
3.
Sorry, that's just the way I feel. Kenny's already giving me the side eye.
Can we jump in there?
No,
we definitely don't want to sound like a victim. We just want to.
Hold on. Will, let her finish so that we can figure out, like, when somebody says somebody's the victim, it needs further explanation. So go ahead and explain what you mean by a guy is a victim, like we're being a victim.
Just the way you guys were describing your issues about getting married and women breaking your heart, and you have to put all this money, the child support, the alimony.
But hold on. Nobody, just to be clear, nobody said anything about guys having, all we said is if a guy is getting divorced, that's something he has to think about.
It's both sides.
Well, it's not though. It's not both sides.
I got a lot of clients, a lot of guys that actually take custody of their children, and the woman want to be outside. Hold on.
But here's my point. So anybody can go, hey, it's both sides, but it's not both sides. There are people on both sides, but I have the numbers. You have over 80% of women have custody. So you're talking about such a small minority of people. So yes, it happens, but we're not talking about the anomalies. We're talking about the average Joe and the average girl. Girls have certain complaints if they say, hey, are they sexualized by men? Yes. You're not a victim because you say that. That actually just is a mathematical fact. And so what we're saying is that guys, and this is why this is so important, this is not guys saying we're victims. We are sharing with you guys that this is we'll say what, 90% of guys are going to agree that we are literally thinking about child custody cases. We're thinking about alimony when we're making that decision. We don't feel like we're a victim because we don't have to do it.
Yeah, this is not a woo-wee. It's just we're calculating problems that can occur if this doesn't work out. And
correct. So we're not victims.
70% of the time it doesn't work out. So we have to factor in if this goes wrong, is what I have and met and grown and developed with this person worth that risk?
But 70% of those relationships that didn't work out, I guarantee you 85% of them was because the man cheated.
I'm curious
about. Okay, but hold on. Angie.
I'm just saying we're throwing out all these numbers that
No. So you brought up a number, but you just made that number up.
Oh my goodness. I was being sarcastic in my
Right,
remarks.
but what I'm saying, Angie, is that's not actually when people file divorce. There's data, right? It's documented. When people document their divorce, did you get? Let's just go, and I don't want to get too anecdotal, but did you file for your divorce? Or did he?
He did.
Did you cheat?
No.
So it didn't apply to your case. Mine didn't apply to me. Miss Martin's didn't apply to hers, and Will's never been married. So that's 0% out of 4, and you're saying 80%. I know. I'm not saying guys don't cheat. I would bet that they do. That's not why most people get divorced.
Okay.
Most people get divorced because unrealistic expectations and lack of communication.
Finances is what it says. If you Google it, it'll tell you.
I'm
not saying that-
finances have a good play.
curious about the number of how many men, because we are all offered the opportunity to fight for custody. How many men actually say, "I'll take care of the kids"?
That's a great question. Let me go ahead and address that because I was in this field, and so Will knows I went through this for 10,
Kenny
12
is
years.
a great person to answer this question for sure.
Yes. So here's what happens. If you look at the data will say that if you actually go all the way through the process, it's almost 50-50. But the problem is that a guy files and a girl files. The girl, especially if she doesn't make much money, she can get the free aid. Okay. And so a guy, he has to continue to work because he has to pay child support from Jump Street. So for a guy, I can't continue to go fight for court. She could just not work, get child support, go get some state help, and she could linger that process on and on. And so guys, it's not 90% of guys don't want to be involved in their kid's life. It's that you end up running out of money and then almost completely, and if you Google it, you can find this, that when a girl is taught by the lawyers in those offices how to file, they always bring up anything. If he yells at you, it's domestic violence, anything. They try to make him come off as some of that's domestic violence. And then they also make it seem like they have no money. So the guy's responsibility is so large. Now, are there pieces of crap guys out there? Absolutely. But it is almost impossible to get custody unless if I go out and say I want to get custody, every person I ever ask goes, is their mom on drugs? If a girl says she's getting custody, nobody goes, what, is the guy on drugs? They just go, oh, okay, I guess she's supposed to have it. Totally socially acceptable. So there's a lot of guys that, given the opportunity, would do it. They don't really get the opportunity. Now, I do want to address, I'll play on the women's side on this. I would bet that many dudes do cheat on their wives. But the women that are filing for divorce typically ain't divorcing over that. Most of the guys I know that have been caught cheating, their wives are still with them. But if a guy loses his job, a girl is far less likely to lose him. So it's hard for us to compute the same. Whereas a guy, if a girl cheats on him, he is more likely to leave her. Whereas a girl could lose her job. Will, you ever broken up with a girl because she lost her job?
Absolutely not.
I don't even know a guy that ever has ever. So it's not.
We're traditional men, so we think different. Most men are most traditional men, well, all but in my opinion, aren't going to care about what a woman is bringing to the table financially. So if you lose your job, you just lose your job. I'm going to compensate where you're not making. That's just how most men think. Now, it's different, of course, on the other side of the table when it comes to women. When a man loses his job, it's totally different. It's taken and looked upon different. But that's just a traditional man. Your money doesn't have a value to us. We're not going to look at you different. We're not going to question the relationship because you're in a different financial situation. We don't care. That's not a characteristic we even care about. Money has no weight for a guy that's self-sufficient. We just don't care.
What do y'all care about?
Okay, that's a great question. Should we go through the list?
No, that's a great.
Let's go. That's where we need to know what you got.
I'm gonna give you my perspective of most men. So A traditional man cares about you being feminine, you being submissive, you being understanding, and you being my peace of mind. If you can offer that, most men aren't going anywhere. Where are they going to go? They can't get that in most places. So if you can give a man a sense of security, I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, on respect. So if you go for the top 5, number 1 is respect. Number 2 is peace of mind. Number 3 would be feminine.
Yep.
And if you basically can offer those 3 things, guys aren't leaving any relationship. The problem is you guys think these other things that matter have weight, and they just don't.
Oh,
Not to
I'm
us.
gonna tell you what we think. We think
Right.
that if we're not secured in those 5 things, we can offer anything a man wants. We can offer the world, right? But if we're not secured with our man, if we're not confident in our man, if we're not even, he's cute, but he's not all the way fine, my type. A lot of people settle for anyone just because they say, "Hey, I think you're hot. Let me holler at you for a second."
Don't be with that person.
Exactly. But a lot of people in this world, sometimes they can't be alone. They just accept what comes to them. But I feel like any woman will give them the world, but she's not secured within her relationship. If her man doesn't take up for her, like, you'll get feminine when you're masculine and you're actually handling your
It
business.
shouldn't be a wait period. It should.
Yeah, hold on. No, because Will's thinking the same thing that I'm going to say, and I'm also going to mute Will so that I can say it.
What's the wait
See,
period?
here's the issue that comes up for guys, right? You say if you do A, B, and C, and D, but it's not if a woman does anything. We are supposed to provide whether a woman acts right or doesn't act right. We are supposed to not have sex with somebody if she acts right or if she doesn't act right. There is no stipulations we're allowed to put on a woman that if you do this, then we'll give you this. Now, I'm not saying guys aren't dicks. I'm not saying guys don't cheat. I'm merely saying that we don't put conditions on whether or not we're going to pay for the bill or not. We don't put conditions on whether we're going to provide for the family. We just try to do it.
Yeah.
And so
We don't try, we execute.
Okay, for the most part.
We find a way to execute.
That's back in the day, men and women. You have you have women now, they can help. I will pay the bill. I got you. It's okay. They're not always looking for the man to take care of the household.
But here's the problem. This is why this
That's
conversation
not any value to us. You paying your bill has no value. We don't look at that as a plus. That's not impressive. That's
why this discussion's important, because we don't value that.
We have if you pay for the bill, does nothing.
Less than nothing for us.
Yeah.
It actually, and Will, correct me if I'm wrong.
It might hurt you.
It is a negative, because if a girl starts paying my bills, what the hell does she need me for?
I mean, if you're paying a guy's bill, leave him immediately, because he doesn't even know who he is at this point. Please leave him.
That's probably, but that's why you see a lot of single women. Like, some women go out to eat by themselves because they're actually not waiting to be in a relationship. They're taking care of themselves, and they're waiting until they can meet someone. So they're
supposed to take care of themselves. They're an adult.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're saying that you want submissive. Okay, I want masculine. But some women run to feminine men.
I think the issue is, I think a lot of women want to be praised or acknowledged because they're independent adults. You're supposed to take care of yourself. At a certain age, you're supposed to be responsible.
So go ahead, Angie. Angie, I see you shaking your head. All right, hold up, Will. Go ahead, Angie.
No, I just feel like, I don't know, like, for women, if you're put in a situation to where you need to be independent, then you're independent and you take care of yourself. And even so, even in a relationship, you're still going to take care of yourself.
Right.
You're supposed to. You're an adult.
Right. That's not an issue.
Being a man or a woman doesn't matter if you're being self-sufficient. You should be self-sufficient, period.
So how do we get to the point? Actually, so let's I want to hit a couple of these comments, because some of them are kind of interesting to me. So One of them by Holly. It's funny. So Katie Clark says, and first of all, shout out to Katie Clark. Great person. Her husband's a Marine, Semper Fi. Great dude. But she said she doesn't know any women that left their husbands or broke up because they lost a job. And immediately, Holly L says, I have, but it was his laziness. But that's kind of my point, right? Like, of course, women have left men because of that. If you, again, finances tend to be the number one reason. And nowadays, it's a lot of people that meet people on Facebook and these other social media platforms. But I just think it's interesting just right there. Somebody said, hey, if my husband lost his job, I wouldn't go anywhere. Well, a lot of times, and Angie knows this because when we talk, I say the same thing. As a woman, you always say, I wouldn't do that. But think about your best friends. Think about 3 of your best friends and think if their husband lost their job and he was out of work for a year and you weren't working and you had to go create, can you imagine how many issues that would tend to create? Now, there's amazing women out there. There are really great women out there. By no means am I saying that there's not women that wouldn't stand by their man. But I'm just saying that in a society that accepts women going, oh, my man ain't shit, and you see it on Facebook, you see it on Instagram, it's very hard from a guy's perspective, and that's what I'm sharing today. We look at these women like exactly what Will had said off the record, and then I brought it up where we feel like the expectations are just ridiculous. And so one of the things I'll bring up to all the people in the chat, okay, and to you two, is a girl will tell me, yeah, it's fine if a guy's 5'9". And then you see that most of the guys that they date might be taller than that. Or you go, I don't care if the guy doesn't make anything. And you go, anything? What do you think your girlfriends would tell you if you, and we, actually, me, Angie, and Ms. Martin had this conversation the other day. There's no way you're going to convince me or Will, who was not in on that conversation, that if you went out with somebody, Ms. Martin, if you went out with Will or Jeff or Joe, whoever, and you came back and you were telling your girlfriend, hey, he makes $13.50 at 7-Eleven, your friends wouldn't be like, girl, are you for real right now? Like, there's going to be some sort of, just like, to be fair, and I'll make it fair, if a guy takes a girl out and she's 5'2", 295, the guy's not going to bring that up to his buddies because there's an expectation that we want a woman to lift our status. And so in order for a girl to lift our status, we want her to be attractive. Me and Will might find girls like in the 10% difference of what he thinks is attractive and I feel is attractive. But I'm not going to bring a gremlin and show her to Will. And Will's not going to show me a gremlin. Go ahead. Have at me. Where'd I go wrong?
No, you're pretty accurate.
My girlfriends are going to be like, is that good? Is he nice? Does he treat you good? Can he cook? Like, people think different. I feel bad for the women.
Yeah.
Y'all might need to come kick it with me.
Yeah, I agree.
How long is that going to last, though?
Happy Kenny, like, Kenny, if you come at me and you're like this chick, does she make you smile? Because if she's thick, guess what? It's nothing to thin out. It's nothing to, work out.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's extremely hard to thin out. Me and Will been trying to thin out for 15 years, putting in massive amount of work. So it's very hard to thin out. And I'm not knocking big women. I'm not fat shaming. I'm just merely saying that there is a desire of men to be attracted to their women, just as it is. And women's attraction to men, women can tell me all day long, I don't care what a man makes. I don't care what he looks like. First of all, I've seen the guys Angie dates. They're not ugly, right? They're not. So you can say, oh, I don't care. You do. And you might not feel like you care, but if you showed them to other people, these people are not unattractive people. They're just not. Yeah. And they're not 5 foot tall, 300 pounds, and they don't make $12.50. They actually have pretty good jobs. They make decent amount of money. Everybody has an expectation and standards, and there's nothing wrong with it, whether it comes from a man for his reasons or a woman for her reasons. Yes, there's probably people that can make us all happy, and maybe some of us. Actually, there was a Jason, which I would love to have him on the show. Jason Mosley's was in the chat at one point. I don't know if he's still there, but one of the things that Jason talks about is if we all would drop our expectations a little bit, we might get better results, and we might.
I agree with that statement. I can 100% agree with that statement.
Yeah, but it's hard to do because, especially for guys who are, and I'm not saying women aren't like this too, but if you're self-sufficient, like why would you? Sorry, there's one person. So Stephanie Stargel, I don't want to pronounce her name wrong, but Stephanie, she's a friend of mine. She's on here. She's talking about the fact that she married younger, right? I actually think
We can offer
that ends up playing a part when you have more masculine women taking younger men. I think that's going to happen more. I think the best chance for success is actually probably a 25-year-old woman or 25-year-old man and a 25-year-old woman and like a 32-year-old man. I think that's probably your best chances, because most of the time as women get older, would you guys say that you guys get more independent or less independent? More independent, right? The more independent you are, the less successful a marriage tends to be, because there's no dependency there. So I get that it's uncomfortable, because then people go, oh, I think okay, so somebody else said their ex-husband was 10 years younger, and they definitely a reason they divorced. Now, again, I would bet you if he was 10 years younger, she was the masculine one in the relationship.
Definitely. She was the older one. She taught him other than him teaching her. She was more of the lead because she has more experience in life.
I don't think people can help being masculine or feminine. It's really just we're brought into. Yeah, I don't think they have. I don't know if you guys believe in astrology, but depending on what birth date year, I'm kind of curious on what's your
Hold it, rewind. Let me hear.
What's your zodiac?
Please, because no one really has that option. Like, I'm masculine because I'm just an Aquarius, February baby, and it's just the way.
I'm gonna tell you why guys typically don't agree with that kind of stuff, because we are held to this standard where we cannot just accept who we are. Yeah. We have to hold on, I gotta tell you all this, because Stephanie just put "bitch, I'm not masculine," which is one of the most masculine things you can say. Which I'm sure she means that, because it's hilarious, and I love her and her husband, great people, but she is absolutely the dominant force there. Let's not. But anyways, what I was going to say is that we can't believe in horoscopes, because if we're not a certain way, we have to become a certain way, or the market's going to eat our ass up. Like,
that's very true.
We will never be able to survive and provide for a family if we think the world just dictates to us how this is the way you are. Good luck. Like, we have to be able to adapt, overcome, and achieve. Go ahead, Ange. I see you getting ready to say something. Go ahead.
So I'm just curious about this whole masculine, feminine thing from, your perspective, because for me, not only am I more masculine because, of going through the divorce, but I don't want to give too much of my personal information out, but I was also masculine in my marriage. And then, from my childhood, I just have always walked around with this strength and confidence and masculinity. I'm a girly girl and I do all the girly girl things. I do it, but I'm just saying, give me some examples of what you mean. What Will's like.
Yep. I'm gonna let Will go first.
So
go ahead, Will. Go.
Because you have strength and confidence doesn't make you masculine. That has nothing to do with being masculine. You having strength and confidence is because you're an individual that has confidence in himself, and you're a real estate agent, so you have to have confidence. You have to stand out. You have to be strong with your words. You have to be you're supposed to be confident. Being confident and strong has nothing to do with being masculine.
So can you give me a definite or one example?
Sure. So I will, Angie. No, because I know you pretty well, and I can see what you're talking about. Here's the thing is, I would actually turn the question on you and say, I don't think you or Miss Martin, if we're driving down the street and somebody cuts me off and I go, F you, pull over, I'm going to beat your ass. Both of you would be like, that's disgusting. But if we're in a back alley and somebody says, hey, I'm going to give you your wallet, or give me your wallet, and they grab you and I knock them out cold, then I'm the hero, right? There's a time to act that way, and there's a time to show your more gentle side. Guys want the feminine of the female most of the time. There's times to be calm. Okay,
Example? Okay. She wants to know what's the difference between masculine and feminine. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's
okay.
exactly what I want.
Do you want to start, Kenny, or me?
Well, first I would ask her, what position does she feel like she's being masculine in?
Well, I mean, I just do things myself. I take care of things myself.
Okay, so a perfect example. I'll go first, Will, and then you can follow up.
Okay.
If you say, gosh, can you go change the light bulb out? And then I'm doing something, and you go, forget it. I'm going to do it myself. You jump up on a ladder, you change the light out, right? That is not being in your feminine self. If you say, Kenny, can you get the light bulb? And I go, hey, I'm doing this. And you go, man, when you do that for me, it makes me feel like you're really looking out for me. Like, I love the way that you help me. All of a sudden, I want to do that. And you're showing me your softness, and I get to be that protector. I get to be the person that accomplishes something. And so it's not a matter of you. It's just, it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable so that we can be in our masculine place and feel comfortable, like, oh, she's really proud of me. Because it goes back to the independent thing. If you're completely independent, you don't need me. What is my masculine? What is it for?
No guy's gonna want 100% independent female, not overly independent. It's okay to be self-sufficient. That is a plus. But when you get to the point that you don't think you need another person in your life, we see that, and we don't want that. We can see the type of woman that walk around and say, I don't need a man, I don't want a man, I'm good enough to be by myself. They usually end up by themselves or with 5 cats. I'll give you the difference between feminine and masculine energy. Feminine energy, patient with their words, knows how to bite their tongue, knows when to speak, not to speak on certain subjects. Nourishing, very, I can't say the word right. They're nourishing. Thank you. I'm horrible with that word. They're delicate. They're kind. They're sweet. They're soft. They're gentle. They're patient. They're the opposite of masculine. Masculine is more of aggressive. Well, aggressive. They're more dominant. They're more of a lead. They're more of a protector. They're more of a provider. Their stance sometimes is stronger than their words. Masculine energy and feminine energy are just the opposite, but they work together. You need a woman. Most men today, as most traditional men, need a woman that is softer than the average women that are today. A lot of women today, I understand you guys have more roles of taking care of yourself, being more self-sufficient. We get that. And we're happy that women have evolved to being more independent. But don't take the word independent to lack of femininity. You still have to allow yourself to be vulnerable.
And Angie, before you even reply, I want to tell you why it's so hard for guys. I don't know if you can see the comments on the page, but one of the comments are, the reason this happens because of a man's ego. They need to feel wanted. Or how come it's our ego when we have the need? But if you guys have a need, we can't go, it's the pride of a woman. No, we're just telling you what we need. But a guy can't even say how he feels because a girl instantly goes, oh, that's his ego. It's not. It is literally how we are created. And you can go back to the way lobsters mate if you study it. Guys, the hierarchy of being a strong man, it comes in every animal. So it has nothing to do with this, oh, it's your ego. No, it's literally our biology that makes you want to provide. Because if we don't provide, what do we offer you? And girls can go, oh, well, I would take them anyways. It's like,
No, they wouldn't.
yeah, right. You don't. Look at again, you can
would
look at
hope you wouldn't.
all the divorces that were talked about. There's people making comments on the page. They even say when they were the more masculine and the man was more feminine, it didn't work.
Mhm.
It didn't work for you, right, Angie? And so it's like these things. And in my first marriage, my ex-wife was extremely masculine, and I was raised by a single mom, so I thought that's how it was supposed to be. And then when I tried to assert any kind of stance, it was absolutely not okay. It was just not. And go ahead. Now you can go ahead and reply. I saw the posts and so I wanted to address that.
So from my perspective, well, I totally understand what you're saying. And I feel like I'm in a position where it's kind of difficult because Kenny has known me for a long time. I'm a wonderful nourishing people, my kids, my partner. That brings me the ultimate joy.
That is a great characteristic of being feminine. Just want to say that.
But
a great characteristic.
On the flip side of it, from my childhood and everything I went through, I just became this. There was so much masculinity to myself and my soul and my personality. And I don't mean to be that way, but it kind of feels like now I'm in my 40s. So I'm like, I have to protect myself. And that's just what it feels like. And I don't want to come across where I'm this masculine woman that's just independent. And I don't want a man. Kenny knows I have never said out of this whole situation, I don't need a man. I don't want a man because I'm the opposite. I want a man and need a man. Where is he?
I don't think you're masculine. I just think you're throwing a word out there, but you're not really describing the traits you show that makes you masculine. You say you're strong. You're supposed to be strong. You say you're confident. You're supposed to be confident. Those are not traits of being masculine. That's just your traits. You're not masculine by being confident.
And I'm going to say something that Will 100% agree with. If you're getting these ideas from dudes that are throwing it out there, sometimes guys, that's kind of their move, right? Like,
yeah. Where are you getting this information from? Who's telling you you're masculine?
Yeah.
Who told you you're masculine?
Just nobody has told me I'm masculine.
Nobody. Okay, so you told yourself.
People have said no, but people have said they're intimidated by me. Several men have said they are intimidated by me, but I don't know.
Did they say what they're intimidated about?
He's so fun. What are you talking about? What'd you say, Will?
Did they tell you what they're intimidated about? What is it about you that intimidates them?
No, they just said you're intimidating.
You need the next person that says that, ask them, what do I do that make you feel intimidated? You need to know why, because most men don't say that to women. Now, men can say that. I mean,
now some guys. Let me interject. Some guys want low-hanging fruit.
Why would a guy use that statement?
Right. The only reason I can think that a guy would say that is if he was actually trying to pay you a compliment because he thought it was going to pay off for him. Because if he really felt that way, he would never say that to you.
I feel like
I don't think any guy would say a woman's intimidating. I can see a girl feel like she's above his league because he feels like she's too attractive for him to speak to.
Right.
That I can understand. But you're not approachable because of his fear of your reply if he talks to you. I can see that, but I don't see any man calling a woman intimidating at all, unless it's just a fear of his rejection or saying something to you because he might find you attractive beyond what he's usually dealing with. I can see him maybe coming up with that concept, but no.
It's funny. So this Laura Wasserman says, little bitch men say that women are intimidating. But I feel like a guy, most of the time when a guy's first talking to you, unless he's like a longtime friend of yours, his goal is what y'all think his goal is. Okay.
Yeah, always.
And so if his goal is what you think it is, anything he's saying, he thinks he's going to find a way. Even if he puts you down, that's his move to try to build you up, to try to get laid. It's kind of corny, but that's a move. Like most things early on is a move. So we're wrapping up here. We got about 2 minutes left. I'm going to address a couple of things in the chat. First of all and foremost, I want to thank you guys, Ange, Miss Martin, Will. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really think this is productive. I understand that sometimes, this is going to be a process of me being able to make sure that you guys get to speak as much as you want to, and to have some different things, because most of the time, if I'm explaining what a guy stands is, all I'm trying to explain is the guy's standpoint. I'm not saying that they're right or that they're good. To address a couple of the comments in the side, it says sometimes financial status intimidates a man. I think me and Will would agree. It doesn't intimidate a man. It just doesn't add any value to us. We couldn't care less. So if you say you make money, I don't want a girl that makes more money than me, because I know that she's going to look at me less because of that. She is. And so for me, if I can't provide more for her, then there's not a whole lot of reason for us to be together, because I'm not going to have her drop me for that. I'm not intimidated by it. It just doesn't add any value to me. So, it's a very different situation than vice versa. But, I also think some women come off strong, and I think women should come off strong. I think it's a good thing to be strong, especially initially, because guys are going to try to sleep with you. If we can sleep with you and leave you and be done with it, that's the easiest solution. We don't have to be vulnerable then. We can just get laid and then be done with it. If you're strong, well, then we know we got to earn it. And then, you build that relationship, and then you have some, and then you see where it goes from there. So I don't think, but what if we don't care about that? Again, we'll have this discussion follow, where I think a lot of women say they don't care about it. But when I look out here and we see rich guys, it's not a coincidence that you see rich guys with really ugly girls. Is that how it works? Not typically, right?
Rich guy, are you out there?
Well, again, thank you guys so much.
Miss Martin, shout out.
Hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give 30 seconds for each of you guys to kind of, exit show yourself. And then we want to encourage everybody, hit the like button, follow us. Check it out. We're going to have more. I'm going to cut this thing up. I'm going to kind of put out some blurbs so that we can try to, bring these things to light. So I'm going to do it the inverse of the way that I brought everybody on. So Will, it's your stage. Go ahead, brother.
I had a pleasure talking to everybody today. I liked everybody's opinion. I think the best thing about this conversation is that everybody got a chance to share their information and their thoughts and how men and women interact and deal with each other. Nobody's here to bash anybody. We're not women bashers, not male bashers. It's just giving people an open mind of how the opposite sex is thinking and how to approach certain situations. So I appreciate everybody for listening in. I'm Will Gray. Hopefully you see me again next week.
Hey, thank you so much, Will. Go ahead, Angie. It's your time. Let me go ahead and unmute you and give you the stage. Here you go.
Thank you guys so much for listening. For me, this journey is going to be a lot about learning. I'm excited to learn about the man's perspective and share some of the woman's perspective. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right. Thank you so much. And the beautiful, not that I just said it to you, Angie, you guys are both so stunning, but beautiful Miss Martin, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hey, you guys have a wonderful night. Keep your head up, stay positive. I mean, no matter what you heard, you're an amazing person. We're going to find someone for you, for us, because we're all single. Good night, guys.
I love it.
Thanks so much, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. And I'll go ahead and close this out here. Appreciate all you guys joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're going to be back here next Thursday, 8 p.m. Sometimes our cast will change a little bit, but this is our cast. Will the Truth, Ange, Miss Martin, and from all of us, we say thank you and have a great night.